Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Joe the Juggernaut, and I'm back with another video. This time, I'm going to be talking about my experience with MEPS in 2024. Let's go! So before we get started today, I just want to say that the opinions expressed in this video are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the Department of Defense, the Department of the Army, or any other governmental entity whatsoever. Next order of business, make sure you hit that like button below. If you want to see more military content, hit the subscribe button and follow me. So as the video mentioned, I'm here today to talk to you about my experience with MEPS in 2024. So if you're not aware, MEPS is the Military Entrance Processing Station, which is what everyone has to go through if you're enlisting in the military. If you're new to the channel, I enlisted back in April of 2024 into the Army National Guard here in Texas at the age of 39 years old. So there's two main ways that people typically go to MEPS to get their testing done. So one way is what I like to call the all-in-one shot, where you will show up to MEPS, you will conduct all your testing, including your ASVAB, as well as your medical screening in one day. Now, I didn't happen to do that. My testing was split up. So for me, my recruiter scheduled a day for me to attend MEPS to take my ASVAB, as well as a couple other tests. Not sure if those were specific to joining the Navy, which, if again you're new to the channel, I originally got disqualified from joining the Navy. But again, I'm not too sure if those tests were specific to the Navy or if every branch takes them. One that I do know that every branch takes is the ASVAB. So for me, when I got scheduled to take the ASVAB, my recruiter picked me up somewhere around 11 in the morning. We drove over to the San Antonio MEPS over at Fort Sam Houston around noon. And I took the ASVAB test, which takes a couple hours. If you're not familiar with the ASVAB, it has quite a few different categories on there, including arithmetic reasoning, reading, comprehension, word knowledge. It's got some mechanical questions on there, like engineering type questions, electrical, and a couple other different components. Just trying to test your general knowledge of, everything. So what I will tell you is I did take the ASVAB. It took a couple hours. I was also scheduled for a coding speed test. So it's just trying to gauge your capacity to be able to do computer coding. I took a cyber test. So this is kind of looking at your general knowledge of like computers and IT. I also got tested on a TAPAS test. So it is a personality assessment. I believe this one, every branch has to take this test. Get your scores right then and there. You will get line scores, which typically are scores in each respective category of the test, as well as an AFQT, which is your total score. I got a 96, so I did really well. Pretty much opened up every job that I wanted, or that it was available in the military for me. So my recruiter was pretty impressed. So again, I would definitely encourage you to take it pretty seriously. Now the second part of MEPS is the medical screening. So the way that works is typically the day before you're going to show up to MEPS, you will stay at a government contracted hotel. Ours in San Antonio, I think it's a Marriott. There is a liaison there that you'll check in with, let them know what branch of service you're with, who your recruiter is, and that you're there for MEPS. They will get you checked in, get you a hotel card and a dining ticket. That allows you to have dinner the night of the hotel. You'll also be advised of when there will be a briefing. And so after I had dinner, I went and dropped my bags off over in my hotel room. You will almost certainly have a roommate, just FYI. It would be somebody, it could be from a different branch. There really is no rhyme or reason to the roommate assignment, but you more than likely will have a roommate, which I did. So dropped my bag off, and then I reported to the liaison to have the briefing. And so it is about somewhere around 8 p.m. that they have the briefing. It is a former military service member that is coordinating all this for you. And so he was a former, in our case, it was a former Special Forces operator. He's been retired from the military for a few years. And so just setting expectations on what you have to do, what time curfew is, because there is a curfew. You are allowed to leave the hotel to go have dinner if you'd like, if you don't want hotel dinner, but they're telling you what time curfew is, they're telling you what time wake up call is, and what the expectations are for the entire process in general. He also goes on to share some personal stories, some of which are pretty interesting, some of which are a little outdated, regarding like your experience in the military. Basic training, boot camp, wherever you're going has changed quite a bit over the last 5 years, especially with COVID. And so, again, his experience might be a little outdated from ours, what we go through today, but still interesting nonetheless. From there, go to the hotel room and crash out. Wake up calls at 3:45 in the morning, so it will be a long day. Be prepared. Whether you're doing it all in one shot or the medical screening just in one day, it is a long day. And so 3:45 in the morning, you have your wake up call. You have to be downstairs at 4:15 a.m. To get some breakfast. You will eat breakfast there, and then they'll call for a lineup somewhere around 4:45. You will line up with your roommates, and at that time, they're also taking your room keys. So they drove us down to Fort Sam Houston, to the MEPS there. We all lined up outside the medical building there where they do the screenings and where they have all the liaisons for each respective branch. They will give you a briefing. So you drop off your bags, you head to your liaison, you get a name tag with your branch information on there, and then they'll tell you where to go report. So there's a desk there. Just FYI, if you're anything like me and you researched MEPS Experience across YouTube, there's a lot of horror stories out there. There's people that are talking about how rude and ugly the people there at MEPS were, or that they were trying to interrogate them to get them to confess to something that maybe wasn't on their paperwork, or try to get them to get them disqualified. I didn't experience this whatsoever. The people at the San Antonio MEPS were pretty awesome. Now, we'll tell you that they are very direct. Remember, it's 5 in the morning. Some people hadn't had their coffee yet, and they're a little on the grumpier side, but nothing unprofessional. Everybody was just very direct, clear, and concise. They'd had very little patience for people that weren't following directions, or that really asked ignorant questions. Keep in mind, I'm at 39, and so you are in there with people that are as young as 17 years old, and so some people are a little naive, a little less life experience, and they will ask some stupid questions. And so the MEPS representatives sometimes, again, don't have very much patience when it comes to that. So again, very direct, but nothing unprofessional. They're not going to cuss at you, they're not going to yell at you, nothing like that. There was also nobody there at MEPS that was interrogating me and trying to get me to get disqualified. Everyone there was conducting a pretty fair and thorough examination. And so I will say that again, shout out to San Antonio MEPS. They're pretty smooth as compared to what I've seen out there on YouTube. So you are going to check into a desk. Typically, that check-in desk is going to be by alphabetical order. So sometimes you'll find yourself at the beginning of the line, only to get moved back when another group of individuals comes up to that check-in desk, and they just keep shifting the line in alphabetical order. You do have a document up there that will have your name and every field that they're going to be testing you on. So your MEPS experience might be a little bit different. The testing should all be the same, but again, the order in which that testing occurs could be different, because what they're trying to do is fill in each station. And obviously, if there's 60 people there, they're not going to send everybody to station 1, have 60 people there, when you could put 5 at station 1, 5 at station 2, 5 at station 3, and so on and so forth. So for me, the first place that I went to go to get my testing done was my hearing test. They put you in a booth with 5 other people, so there's 6 of you in a booth with some headphones, and they'll let you know, hey, this is when the test is going to start. You're going to hear a series of beeps in each ear, and every time you hear a beep, you got to hit the clicker. They're going to give you this little clicker, right? And so all they're trying to do is test, can you hear the beep that they're putting through, and then they'll let you know when it's done. Scores get printed out, tagged on your paper, and you move on to the next station. For me, was vision. So I had to go get my vision tested. They are going to test you with and without corrective lenses. They're going to look at depth perception. They're also going to be testing you for color blindness. After the colorblind test, they moved us over to height and weight, and so here they will be testing your height and weight. They're going to be identifying whether or not you meet military standards for your branch of service. If you don't, you will be asked to do a tape test, where I believe now it's one site testing, where they're just putting a measuring tape around your abdomen. Before it used to be neck and abdomen. For ladies, it was neck, abdomen, and hips. Again, I think they've converted to just the waist. So at that point, if you pass, great. If not, you could be disqualified. So we were also given a urinalysis, so you will take a drug test, right? So you will pee in a cup. It will be in front of the liaison there. There is no like stalls where you can just kind of go and do your thing. Like you will have to actually pee in front of them. You'll be next to probably 3 or 4 other people when you do it. Once you're done with that, they're going to move you into a room where they're going to look at your what I call like the ROM testing, which is range of motion. So you will have to strip down to your underwear. So highly suggest wearing like, you know, maybe some compression shorts. Just make things easier. So they're going to test you for a couple different things. They're going to have you like, you know, do some dexterity testing like this, like can you do this? They're going to have you rotate your wrists. They're going to have you put your arms out to your side, touch your head, you know, out. They're going to have you put your hands up and swing down really fast without touching the sides of your legs. They are going to have you touch your toes. They're going to have to, you know, lean back side to side. They will make you do the infamous duck walk. So again, if you've looked into the MEPS experience in the past, the duck walk is a thing. Now we'll tell you again in San Antonio MEPS, kudos to them. There a lot of people online will say like, oh, like they're looking to fail you, you know, really quick on the duck walk. So you got to make sure you don't do that. Our liaison there really pretty much just told us like, I'm looking to make sure that you don't fall down, you know, that you don't put your hands on the ground while you're doing the duck walk, making sure that you're not bouncing up and down, and making sure that you're not standing up throughout the duration of the test. And so we had to squat down, obviously, you know, like in a squat position, our butt almost pretty much to our heels, and do a duck walk. He asked us to do, you know, 7 to 10 paces in one direction. We had to turn around, you know, pivot on one foot, and then 7 to 10 paces the other way. And that was it. And then they're also checking your body for any kind of scarring or major, you know, dismemberment, anything like that. And so if you put it down in your paperwork, it's really just validating that that's what happened. For me, I have an ACL reconstruction, so I have a scar on my knee probably about this long. And so they're looking to see if your paperwork that you filled out with your recruiter matches what they see in person. Same thing for tattoos. They're looking for that, you know, to make sure you don't have any tattoos, like new tattoos that you didn't already disclose. Once you're done with that, they are going to take you into a room, do just like with any sports screening, right? So drop your pants, turn your head to the left, to the right, and cough. I saw a bunch of YouTube videos talking about doctors are going to be poking you in your backside, and that was not the case at San Antonio MEPS. They do make you pull your trousers down, your underwear, and they will make you spread a little bit and lean over. They're looking for cysts, they're looking for hemorrhoids, if I'm not mistaken, and they're also looking to see that you don't have any issues with the bottom of your spine. And so that's it. So literally it was like 3 seconds, if that. The doctor, you know, did that, and then that was it. He said, okay, you're good to go. That doctor is also looking at your medical file as well, because I talked about it in my last video. Today in the military, part of the qualification process is they run your medical records. If you've ever gone to the emergency room or been prescribed or seen a doctor for anything significant, like let's just say antidepressants, asthma medication, you've ever broken an arm, again, any ER visit, there's a high likelihood that that information is going to be on file. And so before you even show up to MEPS, you are signing a medical release form with your recruiter that allows them to pull your medical records. And so they're going to pull out stuff. And so the old days of like, well, just don't say anything and they won't know that you broke your arm, you know, in your freshman year of high school. Like, that's not a thing today, right? Like if you lie and say, I've never broken a bone in my life, and then they pull your medical records and it shows that you're hospitalized, it may not necessarily say for what, but they are going to grill you about it, and you're going to have to provide some kind of substantiating documentation to show like, this is why I went to the doctor or the emergency room on that day. So the doctor will be reviewing all that information beforehand, before you come into the room to do your examination. And so they for me, case in point, he knew that I had an ACL reconstruction. I've never met this doctor in my life, but he pulled my records, right, as part of the process. And he came in and said, cool, let's take a look at your knee, your range of motion, all that stuff. He had me do a couple exercises just to make sure that what I said on my documentation was legit. And once I was done with that, they released us back into the room. You're free to put your clothes back on and head back to the waiting area. That's pretty much all the testing that I can remember that they did for us. Now at that point, if you're good to go, meaning that you don't have any temporary disqualifying or even permanently disqualifying criteria, you typically wait around, you might get some lunch, and then you will meet with a career counselor with your respective liaison to pick your job based upon how your testing went. So again, this is going to be your ASVAB testing and everything other testing you did, as well as your medical screening. So keep in mind, like for example, if you're colorblind, that could disqualify you for certain jobs, so the career counselor is going to know. So all of this testing that you've done over the last 2 days or in that one day is going to lead up to what the career counselor for your respective branch is able to offer you on that day. Each process is different for every branch of service. If you've got any questions about this process, I know I went through it really quick, but I was trying to keep the video short. We're probably already close to 20 minutes right now, but leave those questions down below. I'm more than happy to answer it. I can go in depth into the medical waiver process on another video as well. And again, if there's any other content you want to see, any other questions, I ship out here pretty soon, so drop them down below. I'm more than happy to answer and make a new video for you. And like I said, help me out. I'm helping you out today. Help me out. Hit the like button. Hit the notification for me. Subscribe so that you can see the rest of my military content and my answers to all your questions. So I appreciate y'all today. Y'all have a good one.